It's the February calendar crawl. But where did we go? Was it any good? And did John fall asleep? Let's find out. So this month the calendar took us eastwards across the grassy plains of Cambridgeshire to the edge of the fens.
I f***ing hate fens.
Not fens, fens. You know, the marshy wetlands where you can go fishing or boating or birdwatching. We wouldn't be doing any of that though, because we were there to see one of Cambridgeshire's oldest inns. The Maids Head in Wicken is this month's pin-up pub, dating back to the 13th century. From the outside, it was genuinely impossible to tell whether we'd be walking into a gastropub for fox hunters or just a oldie-worldy boozer for the locals. The truth was probably somewhere in the middle. There was pub grub available, albeit with no airs and graces, and the interior was pretty much what you'd expect. Low ceilings, timber beams, the works. Beer-wise, there were 2 cask lines available, Doom Bar and a guest ale. There was the usual macro lagers on tap, and then there was also a choice of craft not craft from the usual suspects at Beavertown and Camden Town Brewery. We went for the guest ale, a Damson Porter by Great Yarmouth Brewery, Laken's. And it was a nice pint. It was sort of like an East Anglian tribute to Titanic's Plum Porter, if ever you've had that. We showed the bartender the calendar. She was suitably unenthused, so we went outside, snapped the photo, finished our drinks, and then f***ed off to the nearby town of Ely. I was informed by a colleague that Ely is the home of the Morris dancers, and that a fully dressed Morris dancer can just walk about the town and get free pints. Now, I have no idea if that's true, but considering that not blacking up in the name of tradition was at the top of my to-do list that weekend, I wasn't going to be finding out. Instead, we dropped the bells and hankies and started the session at the Cutter Inn, a bustling bar and restaurant on the river, where we soaked up the views while our livers soaked up the ale. Next, we made our way up to the Draymond Sona micro pub that's owned by a local brewery called Three Blind Mice. Now, I'd never had anything by these guys before, but I was impressed. And I was especially impressed by their double IPA, Softly Spoken Hippopotamus, which tasted kind of like Carmen Miranda's hat. Or how Carmen Miranda's hat looks. After that, we made the short walk up one of Ely's 2 hills to a craft beer cafe called 3 at 3. 3 at 3 is only a pokey little place inside, but what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in its beer selection, customer service, and bacon and scampi fries. We spent most of the evening in there, and John even managed to get himself a nap in. But despite John grabbing 40 winks, we still managed to run up a hefty bar tab of 3 figures between the 4 of us. But considering that it's still cheaper than an energy bill, it seemed like a bargain at the time. For food, we had our first calendar crawl curry, which was, of course, washed down with a pint of Cobra, because sometimes needs must. I know we made it across to the Draymond Sona for last orders, where we closed the session with a 17% bottle of Maid. At this point, and for reasons yet to be determined, Steve-O also started playing Venga Boys obnoxiously loud on his phone. I actually managed to get this on camera, but obviously for copyright reasons I can't play the clip. But fortunately, there's always an AI generator, isn't there? So I got AI to do me a version of We Like to Party by the Venga Boys. Let's see how that turned out. And that concludes February's calendar crawl trip, where we knocked back 45 pints between the 4 of us, costing us £280 and 85 pence. That makes the average cost of a pint £6.24 compared with £4.52 back in January. But given that January was almost exclusively traditional ale instead of craft beer, this was entirely expected. For more hijinks and pointless stats, do join us next month for March's trip to Pembridge in Herefordshire. Thank you for watching.